finally done with all the tasks related to this book. It was tough. Yes, the journey was tough. The reading time was tough. But I did it and I finished it. In the next clip, you'll be seeing all the details, like them for the most part, whatever I assemble and whatever I could do. So enjoy the clip. But finally, I'm done with the book in the month of August, and today is 1st September. So the aim for the September is going to start within 2-3 days, so that I'm going to share with you guys shortly. Love you. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Hope you all are doing well. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing right now. As per the promise, I'm done with the reading of that book. Today is 1st September and I'm done with that book. Not only reading, I'm done with the research notes and summary and everything. And I discussed that in my continuous videos that I'm gonna share the summary of that book as well. It's quite depressing. Yeah, at the beginning of the story, I just felt like I better stop reading that book, but I'm not a quitter, so I finished it. So I'm going to show you what I did today. I assemble everything, whatever I have been doing for the last month in August. So I'm gonna show you what I assemble and what is the summary of that book. Many things that I know about that book is not like those facts and figures are not on my fingertips. So I'm gonna read the summary. Okay, so right now I'm going to show you what I'm doing. So this is what I'm doing. I'm done with the reading, like few pages I was just scrolling and reading the pages and the references also. And this summary I wrote, the research and the summary of I think 4 to 5 pages. I'll show you. Yeah, this is a summary that I wrote, and the research I was doing with multiple study guides like on Google, because many things are not clear to me while reading, so I had to go through in multiple researches, like what Google says, what other authors and what other writers who read this book, like all the opinions of other people as well. So I was just collecting everything because nothing was getting clear in my mind until I got all the points, for the most part majority points, from Google, and then I assemble few points. The Spy is the story of an exotic glamorous dancer who was caught by a crime. It was a big crime, and I'm gonna read few lines from the summary because I'm not very perfect in that regard, but it's heartbreaking also, so I'm gonna read those lines. It's a real story of a girl whose actual name was Margareta, and she was a Dutch girl, and as I wrote, she was a glamorous exotic dancer who spied for Germans during World War I and caused the death of 1,000 Allied soldiers. So this is what I got to know from the writer's point of view. Many people say that this is not true, or maybe this whatever happened, it was unfair in her life, like something happened unfair with her. So what is breaking my heart is at the beginning of the novel she got arrested, and it shows like at the start of the story she got arrested and executed by 15-16 soldiers. They were just shooting at her, and she was guilty of a crime that she spied German soldiers. Am I right? Because I don't know much about like the facts and figures. Let me read. For German like spied for German during World War I and caused the death of thousands Allied soldiers. So this is what I read, and I just assemble. But when I started reading, I got to know that it's not complete her fault, and this is what history says also, and that's the point the author Paulo Coelho mentioned in the book also. The way he wrote, I read the book and understood that idea also, that her death was unfair. And at the beginning of the story, what she tells, like she writes a letter, and the time she was just leaving the cell for that sentence, she handed over that envelope to her lawyer, Mr. Clunett, and later on they read this letter, and the whole story was based on that letter. And it starts with the problem when she was 13, 14. Her parents got divorced and she was sent to a school where she didn't have any guardian. So the people over there, like some mishap happened with her, and she was so beautiful. So the way she accepted it was not right for the society, but that was the only way for her survival. And in the middle of the story there was a story about her marriage also. She got married with a guy, an army guy, but that person is also not a right person. She took her to Indonesia where she had worst time of her life, and then she came back, and she that marriage got end to an end in few years, I think. I'm not sure, but the whole unfair series of happening I saw and I actually read. So this is what breaking my heart. Maybe God knows everything. And there, in the end of that letter, she wrote a note where I'm gonna read, which is also breaking. Like I feel little upset, so I'm gonna read that. Yeah, I'm very touchy, very emotional. When I read such sort of thing, I get so emotional. So I'm gonna read that note which she wrote at the end of the letter. And it's a true story. And she was very famous dancer in Paris in 1900 century, and her real name was Margarita, but she was known as Mata Hari, and that's what written everywhere. If you write Mata Hari, the whole detail of the spy or everything related to her will come. And when she died, no one claimed her body, so the body was given to the University of Paris for the medical researches and all, like all biological tests and everything. So that is so depressing. And what is adding to more is later on they just separated her head from the body and put it in a museum. I forgot the name of the museum. I'm gonna tell you later. In the end of the slide, I'm gonna show you the pictures of my summary, like screenshot of my summary. So where they have put her head in a museum, they preserve it, and later on it was stolen, and something happened with the criminals also that I did not like. I just stopped myself to go further. So this is what the story. I'm gonna show you the last passage, last para she wrote at the end of her letter, and that is I'm gonna read. This is the last para of her letter, where she says, "Instead of justice, there was wickedness. Instead of righteousness, there was yet more wickedness. But God will judge them all, both the righteous and the wicked. God will judge them for both. God will judge them both, for there is a time for every intention, a time for every deed. So be it. Go with God, my beloved." So this is the last part of her letter. Like the whole book was a letter. It's complete letter that she just gave before dying. She just gave that letter to Mr. Cranit, and I'm going to tell you the museum where they kept her head. So they kept her head in the Museum of Anatomy, and over here I just jot down few points related to when she got died. No one claimed her body, so the body was sent to the University of Medicine of Paris. So this is what happened. Deep breath, Fatma. Okay, I'm done with my task. I'm done with the book. I'm gonna go for a very positive, happening, happy book. Yes, for the month of September. So my task and my aim is to finish at least 2 books and 2 summaries for the month of September. Let's see, will I be able to finish those 2 books or not? So I'm going